Good morning. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues to gain momentum. All party delegations engage with key figures in multiple nations, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds telephonic conversation with Canadian counterpart Anita Anand. Call focused on strengthening economic ties and working on shared goals. US President Trump issues rare rebuke to Russian counterpart, says not happy with Putin for attacking Ukraine. Zelensky urges Trump to not be silent after multiple casualties in strikes. US President Trump delays 50% tariffs on European Union imports until July 9th after talks with EU chief. EU says Europe ready to advance talks with Washington swiftly and decisively. President Trump says real progress has been made in negotiations with Iran, hints at some potential good news on the issue soon. And in sports, Liverpool lift the Premier League trophy in front of fans for the first time since 1990. Star forward Mohamed Salah wins the Golden Boot after scoring his 29th goal of the season on Sunday. India continues its global campaign against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, with all party delegations engaged in diplomatic efforts and visiting key countries to spread the message of zero tolerance against terrorism. The Group 3 delegation, led by JDU MP Sanjay Kumar Jha, along with other leaders, interacted with Indian community in Seoul, capital of South Korea.
There are member of parliaments from ruling party. There are member of parliaments from opposition party. But we all have come together. Only one resolve, जो अभी हमारे देश में आप सब ने देखा होगा खबर में कि कश्मीर के पहलगांव में जो 26 लोगों की हत्या कर दी गई, वो छुट्टी पे परिवार के साथ गए हुए थे। सेग्रीगेट करके रिलीजन के नाम पर क्लोज रेंज से उनके फैमिली के सामने, उनके बच्चे थे, उनकी वाइफ थी, उनके सामने उनको गोली मार दी। और इस तरह का टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी पाकिस्तान के द्वारा प्रमोट किया जा रहा। और प्रधानमंत्री ने भी और देश ने भी ये माना कि we had enough.
Earlier, the visiting delegation of JDU MP Sanjay Kumar Jha attended the meeting with ambassadors. Meanwhile, Group 1, headed by BJP MP Baijant Panda, including MPs from the BJP, AIMIM and other parties, along with former diplomats like Harsh Shringla, arrived in Kuwait, their second destination to showcase India's unwavering stand against cross-border terrorism. The all-party delegation, Group 2, led by BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad, would engage with several quarters of the French society, including having engagements with members of the Senate and National Assembly. The all-party delegation, led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, called upon the Vice President of Guyana, Bharat Jagdev. Tharoor highlighted in his remarks that India is standing against terrorism wherever it comes. He also said that the motive is not only to bring the evil killers to justice, but also challenging those who are financing them, training them, equipping them, directing them to do evil.
A tremendous amount of understanding for our position on the current events with our neighbor. But equally, we had a much broader ranging conversation about Guyana's development and the scope for India to be part of this narrative. There's a tremendous expansion taking place. Guyana, as you know, has discovered a lot of oil and gas, and with that there's tremendous infrastructural changes happening, everything from highway construction to reforming the banking sector, telecoms, all sorts of areas. And there was a very clear signal that India would be welcome, and Indians would be welcome to participate in this process.
Group 7 delegation led by NCP Supriya Sule is visiting Qatar to showcase Operation Sindoor and India's continued fight against terrorism. And in India's continuance of sustained fight against terrorism, an all-party delegation led by Kanimoy Karunanidhi, Member of Parliament Lok Sabha, had a number of engagements in Slovenia. Our correspondent Dibyendu Mondol filed this report earlier on what's on agenda for the delegation today.
Well, of course, the all-party delegation led by DMK MP Kanimori did come here last evening, and of course, it's a packed schedule for the parliamentary delegation that is visiting in Slovenia. The meetings would start with the DMK MP Kanimori leading her delegation to the different the schedules that are there in the agenda for today. And of course, some of the key important meetings would of course be in the National Assembly, where she will be meeting with the important parliamentarians here in Slovenia. She will also be meeting the security who looks after the internal and the international security in the Prime Minister's office in Slovenia. She will also be holding meetings with the academia, as well as the individual who is responsible for foreign affairs and the advisor to the foreign ministry here in Slovenia. So of course, this is taking India's stand against terrorism to the globe, and of course this crucial meeting of the delegation with the important personalities here in Slovenia will bring out this message of India loud and clear, that India stands united against terrorism and against the Pakistan-sponsored terrorism.
And earlier we also asked Dibyendu about the significance of the visits by the 7 all-party delegations to various countries to convey India's stand against terrorism.
Well, you see, this is an absolutely significant visit. Such delegations are, or in fact have been going to different countries. India's, stand against terrorism has been absolutely loud and clear. The message is that India will not tolerate terrorism in any form. And of course, the global stand on terrorism has also been important and significant to note here, that the world also speaks in one voice when it comes to terrorism. All the delegations that are going to the different parts of the world is conveying India's message about, the Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Pakistan for long has been, bleeding India through this proxy war that it has been raising over the last many decades. So therefore, this visit is absolutely significant for all the parliamentary delegation that are going across the world. And, we have already been getting, responses from various parts of the world that they have shown solidarity with India when it comes to tackling terrorism. And of course, terrorism is not just restricted to India, it's a global problem, and the world needs to fight terrorism together. And this is a message loud and clear. And also for Pakistan, the message is very clear from the world that terrorism in any form would not be tolerated anywhere in the world, not just in India. And of course, any act of terror on the soil of India would now be considered as an act of war. Therefore, once again, the message is loud and clear that India stands united today when it comes to fighting terrorism, and when it comes to national interest, and when it comes to the sovereignty of India. All political parties, irrespective of their ideologies and irrespective of their difference in opinions, all the political parties stand united to fight against terrorism.
A small wars journal article published on May 22nd spotlights India's rapid defense modernization, urging US military reform to match the evolving warfare demands. Citing Operation Sindoor as a breakthrough in strategy and execution, the piece highlights India's strides in domestic defense production and policy innovation. It positions India as a model of adaptability, underscoring growing global military shifts and the urgency for the US to accelerate its own defense transformation. The author of the article, titled India's Wake-up Call, Why US Defense Reform Must Match the Speed of Modern War, has praised the sweeping defense reforms initiated in 2014 by the NDA government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, listing several key aspects of the decisive step. The article mentions defense sector reform focused on India's domestic production, self-reliance and speed. The author also lauded India's tactical and overwhelming victory in Operation Sindoor, highlighting swift, precise military response using domestically developed systems and how it struck hardened targets across the border in 4 days. The article also mentions no reliance on US systems or foreign supply lines. The article highlights the key systems that were used: BrahMos missiles, Akash Tir air defense, loitering munitions, and how they demonstrated overwhelming military superiority against Pakistan and made Pakistani Chinese-made air defenses ineffective. The author also factors in India's shifting focus on defense procurement, saying that India's progress in domestic defense sourcing increased from 30% to 65%, may reach the target of 90% by the decade's end. Under a dedicated head, the author highlights some lessons for the United States that include lessons from India's model and how it emphasizes capability, speed, and cost efficiency. The article also advises that the US should study and potentially adopt aspects of this model. Further, the article says the US should treat allies like India and Israel as co-equal production partners. The lesson of Operation Sindoor is not just that India is rising, it's that United States can fall behind. Moving on, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke with Canada's new Foreign Minister, Anita Anand, for the first time on Sunday. Their phone call focused on strengthening economic ties and working on shared goals. Anand took charge as Foreign Minister this month in Prime Minister Mark Carney's new cabinet. Carney led the Liberal Party to a major win in last month's parliamentary elections. Sharing on social media platform X, Minister Jaishankar wrote, and I quote, "Appreciate the telecon with FM Anita Anand, the MP of Canada, discussed the prospects of India-Canada ties, wished her a very successful tenure," unquote. US President Donald Trump issued a rare rebuke to Russian leader Vladimir Putin on Sunday, saying he was not happy with him after Moscow launched a record number of drones against Ukraine.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
And responding to a question on the tarmac in Morristown, Trump said he was absolutely considering increasing US sanctions on Russia in response to the latest drone attacks. Trump spoke in reaction to Russian barrage of over 360 drones and missiles at Ukrainian cities overnight on Sunday, including capital Kiev, in the largest aerial attack of the conflict so far, killing at least 13 people, injuring dozens more. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on the United States to speak out. Ukrainian President, in a social media post on Telegram, says, and I quote, "The silence of America, the silence of others in the world only encourages Putin. Every such terrorist Russian strike is reason enough for new sanctions against Russia." Russia's attacks on Ukraine came as the two countries completed their biggest prisoner swap since February 2022, with some 1,000 captured soldiers and civilian prisoners sent back by each side. US President Donald Trump on Sunday backed off his threat to impose 50% tariffs on EU imports, agreeing to extend the trade talks until July 9th. Trump on Friday had warned of steep tariffs starting June 1st, citing frustration over stalled negotiations, sending shockwaves through global markets. However, after a phone call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who requested more time to reach a good deal, Trump agreed to delay. He told reporters she assured him they'd rapidly get together to find common ground. Von der Leyen called the conversation good in a post on X and affirmed that EU's readiness to move swiftly. The new timeline restores the original 90-day window set by Trump in April.
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I've told you specifically, but I told anybody that would listen, they have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
US President Trump said on Sunday that real progress, serious progress had been made in negotiations with Iran, hinting at potential good news on the issue soon. Speaking in New Jersey before heading to Washington, D.C., Trump suggested that additional talks with Iran could take place very soon. This follows the conclusion of a fifth round of discussions in Rome on Friday between US and Iranian officials. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi acknowledged the possibility of a breakthrough, noting that Oman had introduced several constructive proposals during the talks, offering a potential path forward in the long-standing nuclear dispute.
We've had some very, very good talks with Iran, and I don't know if I'll be telling you anything good or bad over the next 2 days, but I have a feeling I might be telling you something good. We've had some real progress, serious progress. Very soon, the Iran talks, I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I can tell you the Iran talks have been going very well.
US President Donald Trump said on Sunday he has no plans to bring textile manufacturing back to the United States, stating that his focus is on big things such as computer chips and military tanks instead.
We're not looking to make sneakers and T-shirts, and we want to make military equipment. We want to make big things. We want to do the AI thing with the computers and the many elements. But the textile, you know, I'm not looking to make T-shirts, to be honest. I'm not looking to make socks. We can do that very well at other locations. We are looking to do chips and computers and lots of other things. And tanks and ships, meaning ships. Yeah.
US President Trump announced on Sunday that his administration aims to reduce the number of foreign students at Harvard University and is demanding the school release their names. Speaking at Morristown Airport, Trump claimed that no foreign government funds Harvard and suggested that US government grants to the university may be reconsidered. The move follows the administration's recent decision to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students, a sharp escalation in its ongoing conflict with Ivy League institution. Harvard strongly opposed the action, calling it blatant violation of the U.S. Constitution and federal law. A federal judge has since intervened, temporarily blocking the administration's order, leaving the future of Harvard's international enrollment uncertain.
Well, look, part of the problem with Harvard is that there are about 31%, almost 31% of foreigners coming to Harvard. We give them billions of dollars, which is ridiculous. We do grants, which we're probably not going to be doing much grants anymore to Harvard. But there are 31%, but they refuse to tell us who the people are. We want to know who the people. Now, a lot of the foreign students we wouldn't have a problem with. I'm not going to have a problem with foreign students, but it shouldn't be 31%. It's too much because we have Americans that want to go there and to other places, and they can't go there because you have 31% foreign. Now, no foreign government contributes money to Harvard. We do. So why are they doing so many? Number one. Number two, we want a list of those foreign students, and we'll find out whether or not they're okay. Many will be okay, I assume. And I assume with Harvard, many will be bad. And then the other thing is they're very anti-Semitic. Everybody knows they're anti-Semitic, and that's got to stop immediately.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. French President Emmanuel Macron is in Vietnam on the first leg of his Southeast Asia tour. We talk about Venezuela elections. Nicolas Maduro's party eyes big win. United Arab Emirates breached its May temperatures record for the second day in a row. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Some updates from West Asia now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with visiting U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in Jerusalem on Sunday. During the talks, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary expressed unwavering support for Prime Minister Netanyahu and the State of Israel. Israel PMO in a social media informed that U.S. Homeland Security also expressed great appreciation for Prime Minister's policy of building a fence along the Egyptian border and for his conduct of the conflict. She expected to meet with Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar on Monday. The visit of U.S. Homeland Security Secretary to Jerusalem came after the killing of 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C. last week. Earlier, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee had visited the city's Western Wall, where early celebrations for Monday's Jerusalem Day holiday were taking place. The holiday commemorates what Israel considers Jerusalem's reunification under its authority after the city's eastern sector was captured by its forces in the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. Meanwhile, Israelis gathered at the Western Wall Plaza in Jerusalem's Old City on Sunday to unfurl a giant Israeli flag in front of the ancient retaining wall on the eve of Jerusalem Day. In other news, French President Emmanuel Macron is in Vietnam on the first leg of a Southeast Asia tour where he will pitch his country as a reliable alternative partner to United States and China. In his first formal visit to the country and the first for a French president in nearly a decade, he is expected to oversee the signing of possibly 30 agreements while trying to boost cooperation in multiple sectors, including aviation, nuclear energy, railways, renewables, research, satellites and defense. Macron's long-planned trip to Vietnam, the first leg of a larger Southeast Asian tour, includes Indonesia and Singapore, comes on the heels of US President Donald Trump's threats on Friday to impose 50% duties on EU goods from June, critically escalating trade tensions with the 27-country bloc. French authorities have blamed sabotage for 2 major power blackouts in the Riviera area following fires at electricity stations over the weekend. On Sunday, a fire at a substation in western Nice left about 45,000 homes without electricity for several hours. This incident came just a day after another arson attack hit a power substation near Cannes. That attack disrupted the final day of the famous Cannes Film Festival, forcing organizers to use backup generators to continue the event. 2 anarchist groups have claimed responsibility for the attacks. Through a post on an alternative website, authorities have opened an investigation, have increased security at key electricity sites. North Korea has arrested several shipyard officials after a major accident during the launch of new 5,000-ton warship, the state media reported on Sunday. Satellite images show the vessel tipped on its side, its stern in the harbour and bow still on the slipway. Kim has ordered the ship repaired ahead of a major party meeting in June. Leader Kim Jong-un, who witnessed the failed launch, called it a blow to the nation's dignity and vowed punishment for those responsible. According to KCNA, the shipyard's chief engineer and others have been detained as investigations intensify. Meanwhile, South Korea's Liberal presidential candidate Lee Jae-myung said on Monday that if elected, he would work to restore communications with North Korea, including reopening a military hotline. In a social media post, Lee, who is the frontrunner in the opinion polls for the June 3rd elections, also pledged to repair strained relations with China, which he said had deteriorated under the previous administration. He emphasized plans to deepen the US-South Korea alliance into a comprehensive strategic partnership, said he would address the historical and territorial disputes with Japan based on principle, while also enhancing trilateral cooperation with US and Japan. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's party appeared poised for a landslide victory on Sunday amid an opposition boycott and a harsh crackdown on dissent. Turnout was strikingly low in major cities. Tensions soared as over 400,000 security forces monitored the votes, arresting more than 70, including opposition figure Juan Pablo Canepa, on terrorism charges. Venezuela accused foreign-backed mercenaries of infiltrating from Colombia, sealing the border until after the elections. The vote for 285 assembly seats and 24 governors revealed deep distrust after last year's controversial presidential race. The main opposition, led by Maria Corina Machado, urged voters to stay home, protesting Maduro's disputed re-election last year. Machado called the election a farce, while a small opposition faction pushed for voting as resistance. Venezuela's economic crisis and political turmoil continue to deepen. And polling has begun in Suriname's parliamentary elections, a crucial vote that will determine who steers the nation's newfound oil wealth towards economic transformation. 14 parties, including President Shan Santoki's Progressive Reform Party and the leftist National Democratic Party, are competing for power. Santoki has already cast his vote, making a key moment in the elections. The outcome could reshape Suriname's future, turning the smallest country in South America into an energy powerhouse. Citizens are hopeful that the new leadership will use the oil reserves and the resources wisely to improve the living conditions and boost development. The United Arab Emirates UAE breached its May temperature record for the second day in a row, hitting 51.6 degrees Celsius. The desert nation, a top global oil exporter, lies in one of the planet's hottest regions, one of which is particularly vulnerable to climate change. The UAE, host of COP28's climate talks in 2023, has just emerged from a record-breaking April with an average daily high of 42.6 degrees Celsius. The number of extremely hot days has nearly doubled globally in the past 3 decades. This year, the early arrival of pre-monsoon season has resulted in daily rainfall across various parts of the Kathmandu Valley. In response, the Department of Met, Government of Nepal, has proposed the Monsoon Preparedness and Response National Action Plan for the year 2082 BS based on their collected data. The National Action Plan is scheduled to be presented at the Executive Committee meeting of National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority, which will be chaired by Home Minister on May 28th. Once approved during the meeting, the plan will be put into effect. According to the weather forecast of the Department of Met, there will be extreme rainfall and more than 2 million people may be affected across Nepal during this year's monsoon. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Modi set to launch host of development projects in Gujarat. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maldives, Dr. Abdullah Khalil visiting New Delhi. Life Insurance Corporation LIC has earned Guinness World Record for selling most life insurance policies in 24 hours. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Our top stories. India's global outreach in Operation Sindoor continues to gain momentum. All party delegations engage with key figures in multiple nations, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds telephonic conversation with Canadian counterpart Anita Anand. Call focuses on strengthening economic ties and working on shared goals. US President Trump issues rare rebuke to Russian counterpart, says not happy with Putin for attacking Ukraine. Zelensky urges Trump to not be silent after multiple casualties in strikes. US President Trump delays 50% tariffs on European Union imports until July 9th after talks with EU chief. EU says Europe ready to advance talks with Washington swiftly and decisively. President Donald Trump says real progress has been made in negotiations with Iran, hints at some potential good news on the issue soon. In sports, Liverpool lift the Premier League trophy in front of fans for the first time since 1990. Star forward Mohamed Salah wins the Golden Boot after scoring 29th goal of the season on Sunday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin his two-day visit to Gujarat from Dahod on Monday. He's scheduled to attend a number of public events while inaugurating and laying foundation stones for various developmental projects worth thousands of crore rupees. Prime Minister in Dahod will dedicate to the nation a locomotive manufacturing plant and also flag off an electric locomotive. The plant will produce electric locomotives of 9,000 horsepower for domestic purposes and for export. Thereafter, he will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple development projects worth around 24,000 crore rupees in Dahod. The projects include rail projects, various projects of Government of Gujarat. Prime Minister will then travel to Bhuj and will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple development projects worth over 53,400 crore rupees. Further, Prime Minister will travel to Gandhinagar and on 27th of May, he will participate in celebrations of 20 years of Gujarat urban growth story and launch Urban Development Year 2025. And DD India correspondent Meghna Dev joins us live from Dahod. Meghna, good morning. Prime Minister said to inaugurate mega locomotive manufacturing plant. If you could take us through the details.
Yes, Shubhendu, very good morning. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be here in just some time from now in Dahod, and he will be inaugurating this locomotive plant. Very importantly, this is a 9,000 horsepower locomotive engine that will be manufactured here. Important to say that this locomotive plant, manufacturing plant unit has been built with, about an investment of 20,000 crore rupees under the PPP model. What we will also be seeing is in the next 10 years, 1,200 locomotives will be manufactured from this plant, and every locomotive that is manufactured at this plant will bear the tag manufactured in Dahod. And to say about Dahod, to speak about this place, this is a tribal belt of Gujarat, especially the nearby areas of Godhra, the highway which connects to Indore in Madhya Pradesh. So this is entire area is a tribal belt, and this locomotive plant will be generating about local employment for about 10,000 people directly, indirectly, which is going to be a very important boost for people who migrate to bigger cities and urban areas for employment. So that is going to be important for the people who migrate from here. Besides, having said that, when we are talking about locomotive, Shubhendu, India has doubled its annual capacity of manufacturing locomotives. Now annually we are at a number of 917, which is 19% more than what we manufactured in 23-24, and in 24-25 we manufactured about 1681 locomotives from different units. Obviously from the Chittaranjan, Patiala, Banaras, Madhepura, Mahaura units, across India. So these, the 1681 locomotives that have been manufactured in the year 2024-25 surpasses actually the collective locomotive manufacture. If we are looking at US, Australia, South America, the combined Europe, the combined manufacturing that they do of locomotives, India has already surpass that.
Right.
So that actually shows the kind of manufacturing capacities that we are building, the Make in India initiative. Also, not only this is a 6-axle engine, which that means that it can actually carry or pull a very heavy freight. For that matter, 4,600 tons is what the locomotive will be able to pull. So that definitely is something that India is manufacturing not only for domestic purposes but also for exports. So clearly a very important aspect in terms of what we are manufacturing in India, in terms of the railway sector, and also a very important aspect that has been kept in mind while manufacturing these locomotive engines is that there is going to be an air conditioned engine, as well as it will also have a toilet which is very important generally, which was never there actually in locomotives. So it is important for the people who are driving the people who are driving the locomotives, and the people who are the staff that is there, the officials that are there with the locomotive. So that aspect has also been kept in mind. So definitely for Dahod it is going to be an important very important inauguration, and four locomotives are already being manufactured here at the moment.
A big step up there for India's rail ecosystem also. Meghna, if you could take us through the other key engagements of the Prime Minister for the day.
Yes, in Dahod, as we were speaking, that he will be inaugurating this manufacturing unit, as well as the flagging of this electric locomotive that has been manufactured here in Dahod. Besides that, also a number of developmental projects is what we get to know, that will be foundations laying and inauguration of multiple developmental projects for the region will also happen. He is going to address a public rally here where I'm currently standing. He is going to address a public rally here. After that, he will also be visiting Bhuj, wherein a number of developmental projects, over 53,000 crore rupees developmental projects will be inaugurated, and foundation stones will be laid for multiple projects, especially in the sector of solar energy, Khavra Renewable Energy Park, projects there as well, projects for the road, for projects in terms of railways, projects in terms of solar plants, and also for projects near the ports as well. So we'll definitely, that is something that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to lay foundation stones as well as inaugurate today. Besides, also he will be addressing a public rally there. Having said that, he will be then going to Gandhinagar, and after that tomorrow, as you said, there is going to be an event in Gandhinagar as well, and that is all his engagements that encapsulates today as well as tomorrow.
Meghna, thank you for those updates. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Maldives, Dr. Abdullah Khalil, arrived in New Delhi on a 3-day visit to India. This is Dr. Khalil's third visit to India this year, followed his visits earlier in January and March, and is in continuation of intensified high-level political exchanges between India and Maldives. The Foreign Minister will lead Maldives at the second India-Maldives high-level core group meeting to oversee progress in the implementation of the India-Maldives vision document on comprehensive economic maritime security partnership adopted by the leadership of the two countries in October 2024. Dr. Khalil will also hold bilateral discussions with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in New Delhi. India will take part in the upcoming BRICS Culture Ministers meeting commencing on Monday in Brazil. The meeting brings together culture ministers from BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa to promote mutual understanding and cultural cooperation. This year's focus is on strengthening ties through joint cultural projects, institutional partnerships and efforts to preserve the diverse heritage of BRICS countries. India's Minister of Culture and Tourism, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, will lead the Indian delegation and represent the country at this high-level event. During the discussions, the minister will highlight India's enduring commitment to cultural diplomacy, heritage conservation and people-to-people exchanges. He will also showcase India's unique contributions to the global cultural landscape, including recent initiatives. In other news, government-owned insurer Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC, has earned a Guinness World Record title for selling the most life insurance policies in 24 hours. Over 4,50,000 LIC agents issued more than 5,88,000 life insurance policies across India. India is on a transformative journey, citing data from International Monetary Fund (IMF). Niti Aayog, India's top government think tank, CEO BVR Subramaniam said India has surpassed Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world. India has achieved this feat due to strong domestic demand, favorable demographic trends and policy reforms. Here's more.
The IMF projects India to be the fastest growing major economy in the next 2 years. The IMF also says Indian economy will grow at 6.2% in 2025 and 6.3% in 2026. The April edition of the World Economic Outlook report released by the IMF says that India's nominal GDP for fiscal year 2026 is estimated to cross the projected GDP of Japan. Niti Aayog's CEO BVR Subramaniam on Saturday informed that India surpassed Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world.
India today is larger than Japan. So it's only the United States, China and Germany which are larger. And if we stick to what is being planned, what is being thought through, it's a matter of another 2.5 to 3 years, we would become the third largest economy.
India's economic boom has come about amid strong growth in key sectors, sustained investment flows and government-backed industrial strategies.
I think it's a great success story that India has become the fourth largest economy in the world. The Prime Minister has also to be congratulated because we have been following his policies and his policies have been very, very strong policies.
According to IMF estimates, if India's current growth rate continues, then by 2028, it can become the third largest economy in the world by surpassing Germany. India's GDP is estimated to reach $5 trillion by 2027 and $5.58 trillion by 2028. There are a number of important transformative triggers that have played a key role in India's economic success story.
How has this growth come about? There are several important transformative triggers. First, of course, is the demographic dividend. Domestic economic reforms, global cues are another factor. Electric vehicles, we are powering green energy. Healthcare insurance has been growing at a very fast clip. Renewable energy, India has very impressive development. Digitalization-induced productivity gains have also significantly provided an important impetus to the development process of the Indian economy.
In the coming years, rising incomes and an expanding middle class will increase demand for consumer goods and services in India. And a rapidly growing economy will create new jobs, especially in technology, manufacturing and services. Globally, India's influence will increase in international forums such as that of G20 and the International Monetary Fund. Foreign direct investment in India will increase further as global companies like Apple are looking at India not just as a market but as an attractive manufacturing destination. Moreover, strong strategic partnerships between India and Japan will promote stability in the Indo-Pacific region. India thus is steadfast to become a developed country by 2047, which is the ultimate collective goal as envisioned by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Tanvi Taneja, DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Tokyo stocks rise on US tariff delay. Nikkei gains over 120 points early Monday. And Nippon Steel shares gain on Japan-US steel partnership. In cricket, in IPL, Sunrisers Hyderabad sign off with huge 110-run win over Kolkata Knight Riders.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from the world of business and economics. Tokyo stocks opened higher on Monday after US President Donald Trump announced a delay in imposing 50% tariffs on European Union imports, easing the market jitters for now. The Nikkei gained 0.34% in the first 15 minutes of trading, while the broader topics rose 0.29%. Investor sentiment improved as the tariff deadline was pushed to July 9th. Offering breathing room for US-EU trade negotiations. Leading gainers included iron and steel, air transportation and real estate sectors. Meanwhile, US stocks futures rose in early Asian trading on Monday, calming fears of an imminent trade disruption. Futures on the S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 climbed, with markets viewing the move as a potential window for renewed negotiations ahead of the new July 9th deadline. The delay also buoyed oil prices as trade optimism lifted sentiment, though the gains were capped by weak demand forecast and the ongoing OPEC Plus output talks. Gold price dipped 0.3% amid easing short-term uncertainty. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei futures rose 0.1% in early trade, while benchmark 10-year Japanese government bond futures gained 0.24 point, reflecting a cautiously optimistic market mood as investors await further developments in US-EU trade relations and West Asia diplomacy. Meanwhile, Nippon Steel shares jumped as much as 7.4% on Monday after US President Trump threw his support behind a new partnership between Japanese firm and US Steel. On Monday, Nippon Steel shares were up 4.1%, having surged 7.4% in early trade. US Steel shares had soared 21% on Wall Street on Friday. Trump's remarks on Friday were the latest in the long saga surrounding Nippon Steel's $14.9 billion takeover of US Steel, first announced in late 2023. The American firm's management had accepted the offer, but the unions opposed it, and Trump's predecessor, Biden, blocked it on national security grounds in the final days of his presidency. Trump said US Steel headquarters would remain in Pittsburgh and that the partnership would create at least 70,000 jobs and add some $14 billion to the US economy. When asked about the potential acquisition of US Steel by Japan's Nippon Steel, President Trump on Sunday said the United States would maintain control over the deal.
It'll be controlled by the United States, otherwise I wouldn't make the deal. I went to the unions, to all of the local unions, they all wanted it, and I'm doing it because all of the congressmen came in, about 5 of them, and the others I understand are in concurrence, and they asked that I do it. Everybody seems to want it, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the final is, but they're going to invest billions of dollars in steel, and it's a good company. Nissan's a very good company. We'll see. But it's an investment and it's a partial ownership, but it'll be controlled by the USA.
You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for all the action from the world of sports. Liverpool lifted the Premier League trophy in front of fans at Anfield for the first time since 1990 on Sunday with a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Mohamed Salah's late equaliser, which was also his 29th goal of the season, cancelled out the Ismaila Sarr's opener at the jubilant Anfield. After the match, Salah was given the Golden Boot and Playmaker of the Season award for scoring the most goals in this Premier League season. It is the fourth different season that Salah has finished as the Premier League's top scorer, equaling Arsenal legend Thierry Henry's record for most Golden Boots. And Italian coach Carlo Ancelotti arrived in Rio de Janeiro on Sunday to take over as Brazil's national team coach after his departure from Real Madrid at the end of the season. Ancelotti's appointment marks a new chapter in the history of Brazilian football, as it marks the first time since 1965 that a non-Brazilian has been hired as the head coach. Although fans remain cautiously optimistic about whether foreign leadership can restore their national team to greatness, CBF President Arnaldo Rodrigues emphasized that hiring Ancelotti is a strategic move to regain Brazil's status as a football powerhouse. Ancelotti is due to be presented on Monday. La Liga club Real Madrid said on Sunday that Xabi Alonso has been appointed as the team's new manager as the Spaniard returns to Santiago Bernabeu, where he spent 6 seasons as a player and won several trophies. Alonso has signed a 3-year contract until June 2028 to replace his previous manager, Carlo Ancelotti. Alonso had been in charge of Bayer Leverkusen and confirmed that he would be leaving the German club this month. The Spaniard took charge of Leverkusen in October 2022, guided them to the double last season as they lifted their first Bundesliga title without losing a game. They also won the German Cup and reached the Europa League finals. Alonso will be presented a Real coach on Monday and will take charge of Real ahead of Club World Cup, which starts in the United States next month. In cricket, Indian Premier League, Sunrisers Hyderabad thrashed Kolkata Knight Riders by 110 runs in the final match in New Delhi on Sunday night. Hyderabad displayed their usual aggressive batting by scoring a massive 278 for 3 on a flat pitch. Henrik Klassen stole the show by smashing an unbeaten 105 off just 39 balls to propel SRH to the third highest score in IPL's history. Cameos from Abhishek Sharma, Ishan Kishan and Aniket Verma further boosted SRH as they scored 74 runs in the last 5 overs. Meanwhile, Kolkata had to attack brilliantly to have a crack at chasing 279, but triffers from Ishan Malinga, Harsh Dubey and along with Jaidev Unadkat early strikes contributed to them getting bowled out for 168 in 18.4 overs. Hyderabad have jumped to 6th place in the points table after this big win. Chennai Super Kings crushed Gujarat Titans by 83 runs in their final game of the 2025 Indian Premier League in Ahmedabad on Sunday. The loss meant that Gujarat Titans missed a huge opportunity to finish in the top 2. Now they will have to rely on the other results. Despite the win, Chennai Super Kings finished at the bottom of the points table for the first time in the tournament. Earlier, Chennai won the toss and opted to bat. They posted 230 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 20 overs after Dewal Brevis and Devon Conway slammed half-centuries. Brevis top scored with 53 runs off 23 balls, while Conway made 52. In reply, Gujarat Titans were bowled out for 147 in 18.3 overs. Roland Garros opened with tears and chants as the French Open paid an emotional tribute to Rafael Nadal, the man who conquered its courts like no one else. 10,000 Merci Rafa t-shirts turned the stands into living canvas, while high in the upper tiers, fans in white shirts formed a mosaic, Rafa, flanked by hearts and the characters 14RG. As part of the moving ceremony, organizers unveiled a permanent tribute, keeping Nadal's footprint set into the clay of Court Philippe Chatrier, making a lasting mark to honor the 14 times champion who retired from tennis last year. Nadal was later joined on court by Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray and Roger Federer. reforming the famous Big Four one last time. The youngest world chess champion, D. Gukesh, will face world number 1 Magnus Carlsen in the classical format at the Norway Chess beginning on Monday in Stavanger City. The last time Gukesh participated in Norway Chess was in 2023, where he finished third. He secured the crucial FIDE circuit points needed to qualify for the 2024 Candidates Tournament. This achievement made him the third youngest player in history to qualify for the Candidates Tournament. India's Arjun Argaisi will also feature in the tournament, which will have one of the strongest lineup. In women's category, Koneru Hampi, Vaishali R and others will fight for the top honours. The 12-day tournament concludes on June 6th. India bagged a silver and bronze in the 10-meter air rifle mixed team event at the ISSF Junior World Cup in Seoul City of Germany on Sunday. Narayan Pranav and Kaiti Chaudhary won silver, while Himanshu and Sambhavi Shersagar clinched bronze as India's medal tally reached double figures. This was India's second double podium finish in the tournament in the 2 days. On Saturday, Sambhavi Shersagar claimed gold, while Ojasvi Thakur bagged silver in the women's 10-meter air rifle event. Indian shooters have clinched 2 gold, 4 silver, 4 bronze, with 2 more finals coming up on Monday, which is the final day of this tournament. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.